And there's a magic that must be love. Just take it slow, not so far though. When you feel that heat, and we gonna ride a boogie. Just got that beat of love. Gonna ride with you all night. Dance with you in the sun and light.
We got work to do, and this is the man that can do it. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I am giving all of my enthusiastic support to Rushern Baker to be the next county executive.
In Kennedy City on the Hill, he projected 4 years down the road and said, what do I want people to remember of this government?
Our success or failure in whatever office we may hold will be measured by the answers to 4 questions. First, were we truly men of courage?
Right now, say we are moving straight ahead.
Secondly, were we truly men of judgment?
Invested in economic development growth, because we know in the long run, creating jobs and opportunities is what's going to get us back to what we should be doing.
Third, were we truly men of integrity? Finally, were we truly men of dedication?
That became the focus to me of what I hope to be the Baker administration. We were not willing just to sit on our hands or play it safe. We were courageous in going after economic development. Thriving economy was important at a $75 million budget deficit, when we were leading the nation in foreclosures, when Wall Street was threatening to take away our AAA bond rating. And we believed in our county so much that we took $50 million and bet on ourselves to invest in ourselves. Having the thriving economy was important, and we did it. From National Harbor to the Suitland Town Center to New Carrollton. The other area where we were courageous, I believe, is our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative, where we said the government was going to focus on areas that I felt had been forgotten. The 6 areas of our county at that time that were in the worst shape. All indicators showed that those areas were going in the wrong direction. We were going to commit ourselves to not leaving until they change. I think the beauty of T&I in the areas is that there are groups of citizens who now know how to access and get government to deliver for them. When I took over as county executive, our school system had gone from 132,000 children to 124,000 to where we are today at 133,000. And we're gaining each year. People are now putting their kids back because they believe that our school system now can offer them a chance for them to get a quality education. Our education system is the best it's been in almost 35 years. For the first time, our education budget is $2 billion. We as a county committed to give more money ourselves, not from the state, but from the county, to our education system. And it was hard. It was a hard-fought thing to do, but we did it as a county. The county is the safest it's ever been. If you think about the 2018 county executive race, crime was not the issue. I know that we've done a good job on safe neighborhoods. Not when I can look at the numbers and it tells me crime is down. It's that when I walk into a place and I talk to people and they feel safer, that they feel it themselves, then we know we've done our job. I've seen firsthand why having access to quality health care is so important. Just like the opportunities my family has for quality health care, I want for everyone in Prince George's County. We're building a brand new regional medical center in Prince George's County to take the place of the old falling down Prince George's Hospital. It's about integrating healthcare throughout the county, which was the goal of our administration from the very beginning. We wanted our government to be effective and efficient, and to understand that our residents are our customers. Because if people don't believe the government's going to deliver for them, they don't turn to it. And I wanted people to believe that if they call 311 or if they access county stat, that we'd actually deliver those effective services for them. When people are most in need, whether it's from natural disasters, whether it's our social services or our family services, our health department, really delivering those services when they most are in need. And so I'm glad that we've been able to do that. Prince George's County is a leader and recognized by the Obama administration as being one of the top areas in the country when it comes to the environment. We lead the state in recycling. We lead the state in waste diversion. We have the largest composting facility on the East Coast, and we've created sustainable jobs out of the green economy.
I knew two things. I knew you, and I knew me. And I knew that if we worked together, wishes, dreams, hopes turn into reality. Today in this great county, it is a wish, it is a dream, and it was a hope that made us #1 in job creation. It was a wish, it was a dream, it was a hope that made $8 billion worth of development happening at once. It was a wish, and it was a dream, and it was a hope.
I want to thank the residents of Prince George's County for giving me an opportunity to live out my dream. Since I was 17 years old, I wanted to be in a position where I thought I could improve the quality of life for others. These last 8 years as county executive, the residents of this county have given me an opportunity I never thought I'd get. And there are times when I didn't think I deserved it. But I'm so appreciative of your belief in me. And I hope at the end of the day, you feel like I've done just a little good. street being very skeptical of this. And what I said to them was, give me a chance. Let me show you what I can do. I know what I'm doing. And it was hard, though. It took me about 9 months to really learn the position, because at that time it was a $3 billion budget. And so just learning the 27 agencies that we have in the county, that budget. But by the end of my eight years as county executive, Prince George's County had the lowest drop in homicides in the history of this county. We were at one point 67 homicides, and now 67 is one too many. But in a county of almost 1 million people, we were reducing crime every year, and homicides, violent crimes, carjackings, all of those things were going down every single year I was county executive. And our economic development, we had, by the time I left office, about $7 to $8 billion worth of development was going on at one time in Prince George's County. We had Tanger Outlet, we had Dave & Buster's, Top Golf, MGM, every part of our county. We were building the Purple Line. We just built a brand new hospital. And so our economy was rolling. And so that allowed us to do things like invest in our schools, invest in public safety. And so it was the hallmark of what we like to say is that, we led the state. We went from last in job creations in this state to the point where we actually led the state in job creations 5 years in a row, leading everybody, including Montgomery County, Howard County, and those places, and being competitive in the Washington region. So it made our county better. So when I left office, here's what Prince George's County looked like. Our budget had grown to $4 billion. Our school systems budget was the largest it had ever been. We had invested in more police, fire EMS, sheriffs, and our park and planning police. All of those numbers had gone up. Our equipment for our for our EMS folks had been the largest investment in the history, and we had a surplus that we left the county. So the county was in the best shape, and we kept our AAA bond rating. So it was in the best shape it had ever been.
So you mentioned a bunch of different things that you accomplished during that time frame. But I think one thing that's at the top of mind for a lot of Prince Georgians is crime. And just to read some numbers for everybody here, when you were in office or when you left office, homicides were down 38%, robberies were down 60%, motor vehicle thefts were down 53%, and aggravated assaults were down 49%. However, now in 2023, that's the latest year that we have FBI crime statistics, everything is up. Homicides are up 82%, robberies up 90%, motor vehicle thefts are up 261%, and aggravated assault is up 45%. And violent crime in total is up 58%.
That's right.
Can you talk a little bit about what you were able to do last time and what you intend to do this time to make our communities more safe?
Well, yes. So one of the things I'm really proud of is this morning we were at a press conference where all of the public safety unions endorsed my candidacy. So that's our police department, that is our fire EMS, that's our park police, that's our civilian employees who work in public safety, all of them, our sheriffs, our deputy sheriffs. And the reason they did that was because based on not only the work that I did as county executive for 8 years and dealing with them in a straightforward manner and bringing up their numbers, but what I plan to do as county executive. One of the programs that helped us slash our crime numbers and also in build up our economic development was a program I call Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative. An interesting thing is I was at a church service yesterday, and the pastor asked me to come up and speak to the members of the church. And I talked about what I want to do as county executive again. And then the pastor took the mic. Well, you didn't talk about T&I. And I said, no, I didn't. I said, but he said, well, we hope that you're going to bring that back. That Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative took the government and brought it down to the community level. So it not only dealt with how do we, reduce our numbers in crime, but how do we actually offer employment, transportation, healthcare to areas of our county that were facing decline. And by doing that, by focusing on these areas, by bringing in those wraparound services, we were able to reduce crime, reduce the number of arrests, and increase the number of folks who were qualified for employment and had transportation, those things. So transforming neighborhoods was not just about government, it was a partnership. It was a partnership between the community groups, nonprofits, the private business sector, and the county, going after issues and places. One of the great examples, two great examples I like to use is Suitland. Suitland High School is where my children all went to high school. It's an area that's right next to the District of Columbia. We have federal enclaves, federal buildings there, but yet it was underdeveloped for years. And so what we did was we focused by using another program I created, a $50 million economic incentive fund, to take that money and to do like what Biden did with the Build Back Better. We took that money from the Rainy Day Fund, we invested in ourselves, invested in Suitland, and created jobs and opportunities. But it also allowed us to take down some of these buildings, to buy these buildings that were dilapidated, that were crime infested, to buy them, to redo them ourselves, and to work with the community. So that's bringing in every part of it. That's how we were able to reduce crime. And what I see now is, over the last 6 years, what we've seen is our police department numbers have gone down. We're 400 police officers short, 200 fire and EMS short. We're short in our deputy sheriff's office, but it also means that we're not seeing the cooperation from the state's attorney we had when I was county executive. It was a coordinated effort. Right now, if you look at our prosecution rate, you look at our closed case rates, you look at those things where you have to work in tandem, they're not. Under T&I, we made that happen.
Yeah, you definitely made an extreme difference in, I think, not only just the actual safety of the residents. You talk about this all the time about how it's not just about the numbers going down, but it's also about people actually feeling safe themselves. And so that was a major thing. I know when I came back from college and you were county executive, that was a time where I didn't have any problem going to pump gas or worrying about my wife pumping gas or worrying about somebody jacking my car with the kids in the back. So now we're at that time now where there's so much anxiety just about doing regular everyday life things that people just don't feel safe. So certainly looking forward to the Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative 2.0.
Looking forward to bringing it back. One of the things I want to say to the folks out there and why I think this is so important is what you just said. It doesn't matter what we say, it's how people feel. And that's what I would say to my government. Don't read me numbers about how many houses you redid and how safe the community is. If they don't feel safe, they'll leave. They'll vote with their feet. And look at where we are in the county now. For 3 decades, this has been the most affluent African-American county in the United States and probably the world. We're not that anymore. People moved, they voted with their feet to Charles County. And why? Because they didn't believe that the government could keep them safe, could build the type of amenities they want, and provide the type of health care and education for their kids. That wasn't the case when I was county executive. And it doesn't have to be the case now. That's why I'm running, because we can make Prince George's County what it should be. It is a great place to live. It's a great place to grow. It's a great place to have your children go to school here. But people aren't going to believe that unless you show them. Right. And so for me, if you're hurting in your pocket, which a lot of people are, they look at the grocery bills, they're higher. They look at the fact that they don't feel safe, pumping gas, and they start to think, well, why should I stay here? Right. If I'm not getting anything for my taxes, then why should I stay here? That's what we have to speak to right now.
Absolutely, I agree. And one thing that is a major part about attracting people to Prince George's County is our education system. And I know that during your time, you certainly made some upgrades to the education system, but it seems like a lot of people may have forgotten what you did for education during your time. So can you give kind of an overview of the highlights of what was done during your administration and also what you intend to do moving forward?
Yeah, one of the things I'm most proud of is the fact that we leaned into education, public K-12 education. Much like public safety, that's what
people look at when they decide they're going to move here or leave, or businesses. You know, I always tell people, the first question I got when we were attracting the FBI to Prince George's County was not about, you know, the building space and how close they would be to the metro. It was about our school system. The chief of staff of the FBI asked that question as the most important. Because you think about it, the FBI building is going to be a joint, it's going to be a collaboration from FBI agencies from around the nation. And so to have it come here, they want to know about our education system. And so it's very important. So one of the things we did was revamp it so that the county executive would have, and the council would have more say in who the superintendent was. So we're all tied together. I'm very proud of the fact that we selected somebody for the first time that was actually was superintendent for longer than just 4 years. Kevin Maxwell was superintendent. He did 2 terms. And then the person who came after him was somebody who worked in the school system. So it allowed us to go from 122,000 students in our school system to 133,000 students in our school system. That's important because that means parents started to have faith that they could send their kids to our school system and they would do well. Now what parents are concerned with is safety. Will you be safe on the bus going to our school system? Will you be safe in the building? Not just from the fact that we've had incidents here where a 19-year-old brought 2 guns into a high school. You know, we've had incidents where there are fights in the schools. But so it's not just the fact that you're bringing in, you know, you're dealing with the children that are coming in and people that are coming in, but outsiders. We see incidents around the country where, you know, people have come to our school system with guns and things like that. So one of the things that I did and will continue as county executive is we put police officers in our schools. We switched it up and we said, we need folks who have arrest power there, who know how to deal with these situations right there in our school system so they can help out. But we've got to do better. You know, right now, people are afraid. So safety is one. The other program we put together was our public-private partnership so we could build schools faster in the county.
Right.
You know, one of the things, this is a great county, but a lot of our schools are old. And if you look at how we were building in the past, it was an old, antiquated way of building schools. So with the P3 program, we could actually build them faster and better in a shorter period of time. We've seen that. There's a Colin Powell middle school that was built that is, you know, second to none. We were able to do Fairmont High School. So building the building is important because we want our children to go to a place where the environment is nurturing so that they can learn. And then finally is investing in a real way in our school system. You know, I'm proud of the fact that when we brought MGM to Prince George's County, that we set aside by mandate, by law, that 25% of that money must go directly to our education system. So that's both K through 12 and our community college. Now that we've seen the full breadth of MGM bringing $47 million to our county, it means that we not only can hit the 25% threshold, we can invest more into our education system without raising our property taxes. And so that's something I want to see us do. As county executive, we want to invest hard in K through 12 education and our community colleges, because really it is a combination of both. And so my commitment, and I said this to the school system and to the community college, is that we're going to build upon the fact that what I started in my first 8 years as county executive, where we set aside money so some of our children could go to community college for free. We're going to expand upon that, because any way that we can help our residents and our parents save more and put more in their pocket, we want to do.
That's awesome. And so one thing I'll ask as a parent of 2 young boys, childcare costs are through the roof. You know, is there any plan to, I guess, expand pre-kindergarten to additional areas?
Yes, this is one of the areas that I think we can really take advantage of.
And we did a little bit of it when I was there, and then it fell by the wayside. And that is, we need to expand the pre-K, but we can't do it in all of our schools. We simply don't have enough. This is where our nonprofit and faith community can come in and be part of us. There's nothing wrong, and I worked at the state level, there's nothing wrong with us saying to our faith community and our nonprofit, we need your help, we're gonna partner with you. You have to accept the children from these neighborhoods, but we wanna use every tool to help us out. So we're not just relying on the school system itself, we're relying on a partnership. It's also an area where T and I work, because with our Transforming Neighborhoods initiative, we use extra dollars in those high needs areas to make sure that our parents could drop off their children at these pre-K and go to work and make it on time and help them out. Two other things that we did, which I think will be helpful for parents, is after-school programs. We started investing in after-school programs. This is something I want to expand. The school system doesn't have enough money itself to do this. That's why it's got to be a partnership between the county, the school system, and the nonprofit and philanthropic community so that we can provide that throughout. And lastly, I'll talk about, we had a program under Dr. Maxwell, and it was kept under Dr. Monica Golson, and that is free lunch for everybody, for every child coming to the county. That not only helps those who really, really need it, but it helps all of us. In these times when we're struggling, I know for me, 3 kids in school at the same time, and then even when 2 of them left, I still had 1. So I had college tuition and somebody in high school. Being able to know that I didn't have to worry about lunch, it's gonna be there, every child would be able to go, it helped us out. And it's something we pay for by doing, once again, bringing in, the county and teaming it up with the school system so we can provide that. That's what I want to do as county executive.
So one thing that I noticed when you were county executive, it felt like people had a little bit more pride in being residents of Prince George's County. And I think a part of that pride is really just being in an environment that's clean. We've seen a lot of trash and dumping going on, not only on the highways, but in our neighborhoods. And just wanted to get your take on how do we combat that issue as we see it now?
That's a really important one. The aesthetics. Aesthetics matter. How you look is important. It's not just a minor thing, because people ride through our thoroughfares here, whether it's 50, 210, or our major highways, and they look at it and say, oh my God, that place doesn't look like any place I want to move to. So it's important that we clean it up. That's our entryways. And so I tell this story a lot. One of my daughters, when I first became county executive, I may have been county executive maybe, a month, and they put your sign, you put your name on the highways. Welcome to Prince George's County, Rushern Baker County Executive. And so she said to me, you need to clean up, 50. And I said, well, that's a state highway. We're not responsible for that. We're responsible for the roads. And she said something that stuck with me. She said, well, then you need to take your name off that sign. Because your name is there, and I see the trash, I associate it with you and the county. And that was one of the smartest things that I ever heard. It shook me, because it meant for me that we need to pay attention. If she is paying attention, then others are. And so immediately what we put in place was a program through our newly created Department of the Environment, where we took cleaning up the trash along our highways, even if they were state highways, and our roads throughout Prince George's County, and partnering with those towns that had their own DPW, so that we actually redid all the signs around the county. If you noticed, when I came into office, we redid every sign and planted flowers in those beds so it looked like it. We've fallen off from that. If you ride through some of the areas now, you see the trash out there. It's not like when I was there, but I actually went out once again, through our Transforming Neighborhoods initiative, we put together teams of environmentalists, we call them, to go out and to clean up these ways where people illegally dump, where cars were parked for years, where all of these things, we target them and went in there and used our 311 to make sure we clean it up. And so what I want to get us back to is having this county look like a place when you go in there that, wow, I want to stop. We want people when they're driving down Baltimore Avenue from Laurel all the way down to Mount Rainier, that they say, it looks great, it looks inviting. I want to pull over, at Rivertown Station and eat. I want to pull over at University of Maryland and see what's going on. I want to go to the Arts District that's right down here. And so we want that throughout, whether it is Brandywine Crossing, whether it's Suitland, or whether it's up in Laurel or Bowie. Those are the things that we're going to commit to in our time as county executive.
So earlier you mentioned food, and that's a major concern for a lot of residents, is having options that are healthy options, but also just there seems to be chain restaurants in every single shopping center out here. And Royal Farms is a huge one. We're seeing them pop up everywhere. How do you look at areas, particularly inside the Beltway, like Chillum, Capitol Heights, Fairmont Heights, Forest Heights, to try to combat some of the food insecurities that we're seeing in those areas?
So that's where you really have to, and I want to do this, that's where you really have to concentrate our mixed-use development. And so for me, a test case of that would be, if you look at what we're doing, what I want to do over at Capitol Heights, not just at the Metro, near the District of Columbia and Capitol Heights, but also look at what we did moving up to Morgan Boulevard. If you take Hampton Mall, which Kingman Square bought, and you take Hampton Mall, which we actually rebuilt in a partnership with, once again, it's a private company, the county, and the nonprofit from the faith community, and redid that mall to bring in a grocery store, to bring in all of to anchor it. Mixed-use development, you need to anchor it with something. And so what we decided to do was to bring in all of our health-related agencies, so health department, family services, social services, our veterans, all of those places right there that you can see right off the highway. You've got Home Depot, you've got some restaurants, so that mixed-use development, but also adding that grocery store component to it. Not big name, not a chain grocery store, but one that's local and has a feel like you're in a place like New York, where you can just go downstairs, go to your local grocers and buy your food. So if you think of places like that, Capitol Heights, that's where we use our development. That's where we use our incentive fund to go in there and to actually jumpstart the economy there. And so that's what I want to do throughout. In these places where they're food desert because there's no options. Right. And grocery stores don't come by themselves. They want to be around, housing. They want to be around businesses. They want to be around people that there's foot traffic during the day. And we can do it. We've got great examples of how it works. If you go back, if you're old enough, you remember what New Carrollton Metro Station looked like before I was county executive. It was the first project that I told people we were going to work on. And you look at it now, it's exactly what we're talking about. It took advantage of there's housing, there's condos, but there's also restaurants and places where you could shop and eat. And that's what we want throughout the county. There's not enough of it. And so my commitment is to go to those places and build upon it. Another good example in the southern part is Branch Avenue. I was over there the other day getting a cup of coffee in Branch Avenue, that development we started with one development partner, one acre. It was a federal government building, just 1 acre there. And now you look at it, it's exploded. They have townhouses, they have condos, but they have places where you can eat, shop, do your drop off your cleaning, pick it up. That's what we want throughout Prince George's County.
Absolutely. I think that moves on to the next topic, which is economic development. That you're essentially the the king of economic development in Prince George's County. You built pretty much a lot of the things that we see today, as you mentioned earlier, MGM, Tanger, Whole Foods, Harris Teeter. And so I guess, what's the next step in economic development in Prince George's County as you see it?
So for me, when I came in, as crazy as it may sound, there were two projects that I wanted to do. One was Tanger Outlet. I wanted a place that attracted not just folks here in Prince George's County to go, but I wanted us to be a hub for people coming from around the region that come and spend money right here in the county. And the other was Dave & Buster's. You know, it made me upset that, you know, when my kids were growing up, I had to go to Rockville or Dave & Buster's. It's like, why don't we have, we're all like, as families, we're all going out to Dave & Buster's out there. Why isn't there one here? And so, you know, my kids don't go, they're grown now, they don't go to Dave & Buster's. I want to.
My kids do.
Exactly. Your kids do, hopefully they have kids, they'll go. So it was important, but it was also important to show the business community we were serious. That we as a county were willing to go and talk to you and meet with you to tell you what we want and to bring it in there and help you do the project. And so Dave & Buster's became a place for me to go and get that done. Same thing with Trader Joe's. I worked like heck to try and get Trader Joe's here because it's symbolic. So what do we want to do next? We still have the most undeveloped metro stations, and we're about to build some more. I purposely wanted the Purple Line. For the first time, we're going to have the Purple Line start in Prince George's County. It's never happened before. The metro has started in every other jurisdiction, Northern Virginia, DC, Montgomery County, but never started here. And why is that important? Because businesses start investing the moment the first brick comes out of the ground or put into the ground. Now that we have met the Purple Line starting here, it's going to give us stations in Carrollton, College Park, that we can now start attracting businesses to and developing around there. So my thing is, one, to make sure we're doing the type of smart growth development that we've shown works here, like a Branch Avenue, like a Riverdale Station, but we build upon that. So you go back to Capitol Heights. You talk about the southern part of the county where we can do some things with getting the metro across the Woodrow Wilson Bridge, so we can really make that entertainment district pop. But for me, it's looking at those areas that we can, focus on. Greenbelt. We're going to get the FBI. We're going to fight. We're going to get the FBI here. But we're not going to wait till the FBI is actually built. We're going to start building around Greenbelt Metro Station in anticipation of what's going to happen. The same thing with Largo. The blueprint for Largo on the Blue Line has been in place since the Curry administration. We're going to really just supercharge that. We're going to put a lot more money into downtown Prince George's County, which now is called downtown Largo. But we're going to make it downtown Prince George's County by investing. We already have anchors there. The anchors is the new regional medical center. The other anchor is the fact that we moved during my administration. Most of the county government agencies are in Largo. It makes sense for two reasons. One, it's in the middle of the county. It has metro, it has accessibility, so residents can get to it quicker and get to it. So, but it also gives us foot traffic during the day to build upon. And so I want to see us do that and really pay attention to some areas that I think have been overlooked too long. And that is, if you go to the southern part of our county, once you get past, MGM and National Harbor, then it becomes harder and harder to find places where there are grocery stores or where there's mixed-use development. I want to do more of that. We have some of our anchor grocery stores that have been with us, like Giant, like Safeway, but they need an upgrade. And we did an upgrade in Fort Washington to a development where Giant is, and that's starting to take off now. You've got restaurants there, you've got eateries there, but we can actually bring in more. So I want to see us do that where Safeway is, but throughout that part of the county where
We want people to be able to enjoy their life in Prince George's County wherever they are. So if you're in the northern part or you're in the southern part, you have entertainment and options throughout Prince George's County. So much so, we want the reverse traffic that from Virginia coming into Prince George's County. We see that at National Harbor, we see that at Tanger, we see that at MGM, but we also want to see it at other places.
Agreed. So there's one thing that I think you get, I guess, hammered about the most on social media, right? And you would think that it's the increase in taxes, but it's twice a week trash pickup. You know, people want to see their twice a week trash pickup come back, but I don't think everybody has a full understanding of why that happened. Could you kind of just give some insight as to why that decision is made, and then even after the decision was made, I guess the level of achievement I think that you were able to get, or level of accolades that you were able to get from that decision?
Yeah, that is it. Believe it or not, that's the one thing when I was in office, and even now people talk about, is that you took away our 2-day-a-week trash pickup. In fact, one of the candidates, the state's attorney, made a statement when she was running that she was going to bring back a 2-day-a-week trash pickup. That is a lie. It's not coming back. And here's the reason why. One, we all talk about the environment, that global warming is real. Part of that is we were the only jurisdiction in the metro area, in Maryland mostly, that had 2-day-a-week trash pickup. Everybody else who had signed on to the climate accord were reducing their trash pickups. They were converting what we actually started to convert, I'll talk about this in a minute, to composting and things of that nature. It also is, you're not going to have reverse because that's a $6 million hit. So just think about it. You're already $170 million in debt. You don't know where the money's coming. It would cost you $6 million to maintain it. And then you have to build a new landfill. So imagine going around the county and asking people, who would like a landfill first? Raise your hand. The other thing that people don't realize, that decision was not made at its spur of the moment. It actually came from these town hall meetings for the budget. Every year we would go around the county 3 times during the year to present the budget before we presented my budget to council members. And we had a gentleman who worked at the federal level who analyzed, Prince George's County, how much waste we were producing here, comparison to other places, and made the suggestion that we go to 1 day a week, and that we have other options. And so after looking at it, studying it, and looking at the budget, we decided to do it. So what has happened? That was, I've been out of office 6 years, so we did it before I left. So probably about 10 years. For 10 years, that's been in place. No administration, no council member, nobody in elected office has tried to overturn it. There hasn't even been a bill. Because what they find out when they get in office is 1, the cost, 2, no one who cares about the environment and climate change is doing that anymore. And 3, we were able to do something nobody else has done, and that is we converted to that waste in our composting facility. We built the largest composting facility on the East Coast, which meant that we were taking waste and turning it into actually revenue for the county. And so we are actually selling our products that we produce to places like Home Depot and Lowe's and places like that. So Prince George's County was making money off being the green economy. The other thing that we found out about that, it had us looking at what were the other things in the environment that were causing us problems in the county. And so what I decided to do was to create the first Department of the Environment. No other county has a Department of the Environment. They tuck it into some other areas. We have the only one. That allowed us to look at stormwater management. So the runoff from the flooding that we see now because of global warming and the fact that, where, in the Shelley area, which used to be in a 100-year flood zone, just like the county administration building, the old one in Upper Marlboro. Well, the 100-year flood is happening every year. And that's because of runoff. And so we became the first county to actually do stormwater management where we reduce the amount of runoffs. And to show people this can happen and create jobs, we went to the faith community and say, we want to start with you and redo your impervious surfaces. So I say all that to say, the 2-day-a-week trash pickup and making sure we don't have litter around there, all tied together. And once people saw it, they knew, especially when you look at the price tag, they knew it was the right thing to do. Right. So it's something that I get teased about a lot, but I also tell them, nobody changed it. Right. There's a reason.
Appreciate that answer. So the number one issue that we're seeing come up, even in, I guess, as we're doing our phone banking and calling residents, are really property taxes. So I guess, what is your plan to attack property taxes to make Prince George's County more affordable?
Yeah, this is something that also comes up if we're having an honest discussion. We want to, because this is an important time. I mean, this is an important election. There are many things that we're facing, whether it's federal government, whether it's state government, whether it's our own, that people are scared, especially with federal government firing everybody or pretending like they're firing them. People are afraid they're going to lose their income. And so one of the issues that come up, and I'm sure you've heard it, Kevin, and that is, someone said, well, you raise property taxes when you were county executive. That is a true statement. We actually raised property taxes by 4 cents. I wanted to do it by 15 cents. That would directly go into our school system. And the reason we needed to do that is because our school system needed to make sure we could meet the state mandate. The state was mandating that the county put up a certain share if we wanted to get more money. So that money could not go into the general fund, couldn't help with police, couldn't help with fire, couldn't help with picking up the trash. It had to go to the school system, and the school system controlled it. And so when I asked the county council to pass that bill, what I said to them was, we're going to increase our commercial tax base. We knew we had MGM coming, we knew we had Chamber coming, we knew we had these other projects, and that we were hiring more small and local businesses that were hiring people. And so I said, once those revenues come in, we should lower the property taxes because we've increased our commercial tax base. That didn't happen. Instead, what county did with the money was they kept it the way it was. They didn't give people a tax break. And so what happens now, those who are seniors, and I know a lot about that, are on fixed incomes. You're retired on a fixed income. So the thing that hits you disproportionately is your property taxes. What we should be doing, and what I'm committed to doing, is lowering our property taxes. We're in a position now in the county where there's enough business opportunity where we can make up the difference by actually investing in businesses. We've done it. We've seen that MGM works. We've seen that Tango works. We've seen that Top Golf works. We've seen that investing in small businesses like Domino's Pizza actually produce jobs and income. So if we know that, let's continue to invest in the business, aspect and lower the property taxes. Because once again, if people are concerned about crime, they're concerned about education, and they look at property taxes, then they're going to take off from here. They're going to move elsewhere. So I say we lower it there, and we can raise it on the other side, but you have to know what you're doing.
So one of the things that I've heard as well is that, oh, well, you've built all this stuff and it's, you're doing it in College Park, you're doing it down in National Harbor, but I don't see anything in my neighborhood. And I think that it's really important to point out that as the county executive, you have a fiduciary responsibility to do what's best for the entire county. And when these projects are built, it actually helps everybody across the county.
They actually do. One thing, but their criticism of where we're going in the county is a very legitimate one. I moved to the southern part of the county after I was county executive. And so I go to Rivertown. You look at the mall down in Rivertown in the southern part of the county. There's many things that could be happening there. I look at the mall that's across across the street from Joint Base Andrews. Here you have one of the largest bases in the United States, and we don't have the type of development that we should have here. Those are the areas we need to focus on. There's some other areas in the northern part of our county which haven't seen the robust development that they should have. And so as county executive, I want to look at those areas. You know, if you look at 210 that goes from, Charles County and St. Mary's County, all the way through the District of Columbia, you know, you get to a certain point, you don't see the development you should see. You know, those are areas that we have to focus on. That's where I want to take the $50 million incentive fund and use it to spur economic development there. We know, now that we know it works, it's easier for me to go back to Wall Street and say, hey, lend us the money to do this in these areas. And they'll say, well, how do we know it's going to work? I can point to a record and say, it worked here. Look at Super. You know, look at the second phase of Super that's going to happen. But I think we need to take that incentive fund, which now is at $15 million, because we didn't reinvest in it. But I, as county executive, am going to reinvest it up, make it $50 million again, and look at those areas that people are talking about that we're not seeing growth, you know, and invest in those areas. Because what's going to happen in College Park, Hyattsville, and the new development that's going to go in Cheverly on the old site, that's going to happen. Private developers will go into that area. Where we need to invest as a county, as a government, is the areas where it takes partnership. I want to do, and I'll pose a question like this, I want to do in those areas that we're talking about, whether it's Rivertown or whether it's the development across the street from Joint Base Andrews or other hard to develop places, is to go in like we did with Superman and actually have the county act as the general contractor, where we go in, buy up the property, bring in the private sector and the public sector so that we can work together. That's another area when we talk about affordable housing and workforce housing. That's another area where we can use the incentive fund, use our Department of Housing and Community Development, team up with the private sector, especially the nonprofit, and do development around this if we need these things.
So 2 last questions before we wrap it up. One is about communication to residents. We've been hearing a lot of concerns about, you know, just folks who live in the community who really never hear anything from the government or about what's going on in the community. And what's your plan to, I guess, increase that level of communication?
There are a lot of tools that are available now that weren't available when I was county executive. You know, we use snail mail. You know, we mailed out everything, but we also use like the TVs that are around this facility here that we're in to highlight what the county was doing if you went into a county government building. But we now know that you can use text messages, you can use email, you can use social media, and for those of us who like to see, like this town hall we're doing now, which is a hybrid, you can do it where people can zoom in, or they can be here, right here in person. So I think as county executive, my commitment is to want to do all of the things, use all the technology we have now, but then do some of the stuff that I think worked in the past. I had what we call Citizen Day, and maybe we'll do it a little different this time. Citizen Day was, you know, twice a month. I would set aside a whole day where anybody from around the county could come to Largo and could talk to me for 30 minutes about whatever was going on, whatever their issue was. And so it was a great way for me to hear from myself what people felt about our government and what we were doing. Another way to do that now is through Zoom. You can reach a lot more people where they can come on, talk to you directly, and talk about the things that are working and not working, and do that. And so I want to do that. The budget we do around the county 3 times a year. I want to increase the one thing about T&I that was great is the Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative required that not only the county executive, but our top staff had to be at community meetings once a month. They had to meet the business and community meetings in their neighborhoods. So if you were in Glass Manor or East Riverdale, Bladensburg, if you were a housing director, you were, a DPW director, you were meeting with the community once a month yourself to hear from them. They would have your phone number.
Right.
They could call you directly. I think that gave them greater access to say, here's what's going on, here's what's going right, but more importantly, here's what's going wrong.
So one thing, I've actually got the question twice today from two different people, and they asked, what does a county executive do, and why is it important for them to get out and vote in this particular election?
That was a great question. A lot of folks may be like me, they come from places that don't have county executives. They have mayors. The county executive is like the mayor. In fact, I always joke with my mom, who lives in Springfield, Massachusetts. And she said, well, when are you going to be mayor? And I was like, Mom, the mayor of Springfield has a population of about 120,000 people. There's 1 million plus in Prince George's County. So I'm over a bigger government than the mayor of Springfield, and it's a $4 billion corporation. But it's important. The person who's county executive will make decisions about life and death decisions. For life and death for a couple of reasons. One, it determines how many police officers we have on the street, how many sheriffs we have on the street, how many police and fire and EMS show up at your house when you need them. That person also determines how many people we have inspecting your properties to make sure they're up to code. That person also decides, how we invest our money for the long term, whether in fact our schools are going to be the type of learning environment we want. It is an important position. That person negotiates the FBI, negotiates projects like MGM, negotiates projects like whether we keep the commanders of the district, keep them in here. Those are things I had to negotiate as county executive. So all of these things, our roads, not just how they look, but in fact whether the potholes are clean or not, or whether in fact we can even remove snow from our streets in a timely manner and in a coordinated manner with our surrounding jurisdictions. So our streets are not just impacting us. We share a border with Montgomery County, with the District of Columbia, and with Virginia. And so we need to have somebody in there that makes that decision. So your life, as to whether you have good quality of life, depends on who sits in that seat as county executive, which is one of the reasons I decided to run. This is too important a time to have somebody in there that does not know what they're doing. And so that affects our pocketbook. That affects how much money you spend, whether you invest in this county or not. And so that's how important the county executive is.
And having the privilege of running this campaign in this cycle, we have dove into the numbers tremendously. And what I found is that about 70% of the people who vote in our local elections are women who are 50 years and older. And if these decisions that are being made by the county executive are going to affect us for the next 20 to 30 years, it should be those that are in my generation who are really, we need to be on top of this. We need to be looking and seeing who the best candidate is to run this ship, and also who's going to be willing to lift as they climb, who's going to bring up the next generation, and that's so important, because I can sit here and tell you that Mr. Baker is the guy who is going to do that. So without further ado, we can go into a closing and then we'll close it out.
I'll close it out on something you just said, Kevin. I think it's so important. It's important for everybody, our young people, our young families in this county, to pay attention to this special election. This is really about the next 18 months. That's what we're talking about in this special election. So the person coming in has to be able to hit the ground running. That's so important, because that person has to deal with the fallout of what's coming on Capitol Hill. People are being given notices not to show up to work at the federal government. That directly impacts our income right here in this county. That directly impacts our income in the county, because many of those folks have federal jobs, but also have contracts that are associated. So you can't determine how many employees you need for the next 3 months because somebody in Capitol Hill is changing, or the White House is changing every 5 months, every 5 minutes. The other thing is for those of us who are retired, who are senior citizens making decisions on whether this is where we stay or do we move to North Carolina or some other place that's more inviting. If they don't feel safe, we don't have the amenities, that is something that they're going to decide. So we need to make sure that the person that we elect as county executive knows what they're doing and has a proven track record of doing it. So this is not a popularity contest. This is not, a beauty contest. This is not a time, and I say this, in these serious times we live in, this is not a time to pay back political favors. You don't endorse or support somebody because they're your buddy. I have buddies that are running right now in this race, but they can't do the job. And for my investment, for my family, for the community that I love, we need a person that can get in there and deliver, not only based on what they did in the past, but what they can deliver in the future. And I think that's how this election should be decided. We need your help. This is an important election. As I've said before, these are serious issues. We need serious people to handle them. I want your help. I want your support. I want your vote. I wanted to make sure that we build upon what we've done in the past. We make Prince George's County better. And the last thing I would say is, look at all of that track records. All the people running for county executives who've been in office have a track record. Look at their record. Look at what they've done in the last 6 years and say, hey, if you like what has happened over the last 6 years, then you have some folks you can vote for. If you're not pleased, like I'm not pleased, if you think crime can be lowered, if you think our economy can be increased, if you think we can provide quality health care throughout this county and really build it up and push back against what's going on at the federal level, then come to this campaign.
Thank you, Mr. Baker, and we're extremely excited for the last 2 weeks of this election. So if you're able, please join us, donate, volunteer, and make sure that you vote by March 4th. And you can do that. Your ballot is in your mailbox or it's probably on your kitchen table. If you accidentally threw it away, you can go and vote in person. There's early voting from February 26th to March 4th. There are 19 Dropbox locations if you do still have your paper ballot that was mailed to you. And then there are also 9 in-person vote centers that you can vote at as well. So without further ado, we appreciate everyone for joining us today. And I'm sure there are other questions, and we'll continue to go live for the remainder of this campaign so that you all have an opportunity to ask those questions and have them answered. But until then, we appreciate you and thank you. Have a good evening. And please make sure you tune in on WUSA Channel 9 at 4:30 p.m. today. Mr. Baker will be live on there today. So we'll see you there, and then we'll see you at the D9 Coalition Candidates Forum tonight. All right, now, have a good one.
We got work to do, and this is the man that can do it. And for that reason, ladies and gentlemen, I am giving all of my enthusiastic support to Rushern Baker to be the next county executive.
In Kennedy City on the Hill, he projected 4 years down the road and said, what do I want people to remember of this government?
Our success or failure in whatever office we may hold will be measured by the answers to 4 questions. First, were we truly men of courage?
Right now, say we are moving straight ahead.
Secondly, were we truly men of judgment?
Invested in economic development growth, because we know in the long run, creating jobs and opportunities is what's going to get us back to what we should be doing.
Third, were we truly men of integrity? Finally, were we truly men of dedication?
That became the focus to me of what I hope to be the Baker administration. We were not willing just to sit on our hands or play it safe. We were courageous in going after economic development. Thriving economy was important at a $75 million budget deficit, when we were leading the nation in foreclosures, when Wall Street was threatening to take away our AAA bond rating. And we believed in our county so much that we took $50 million and bet on ourselves to invest in ourselves. Having the thriving economy was important, and we did it. From National Harbor to the Suitland Town Center to New Carrollton. The other area where we were courageous, I believe, is our Transforming Neighborhoods Initiative, where we said the government was going to focus on areas that I felt had been forgotten. The 6 areas of our county at that time that were in the worst shape. All indicators showed that those areas were going in the wrong direction. We were going to commit ourselves to not leaving until they change. I think the beauty of T&I in the areas is that there are groups of citizens who now know how to access and get government to deliver for them. When I took over as county executive, our school system had gone from 132,000 children to 124,000 to where we are today at 133,000. And we're gaining each year. People are now putting their kids back because they believe that our school system now can offer them a chance for them to get a quality education. Our education system is the best it's been in almost 35 years. For the first time, our education budget is $2 billion. We as a county committed to give more money ourselves, not from the state, but from the county, to our education system. And it was hard. It was a hard-fought thing to do, but we did it as a county. The county is the safest it's ever been. If you think about the 2018 county executive race, crime was not the issue. I know that we've done a good job on safe neighborhoods. Not when I can look at the numbers and it tells me crime is down. It's that when I walk into a place and I talk to people and they feel safer, that they feel it themselves, then we know we've done our job. I've seen firsthand why having access to quality health care is so important. Just like the opportunities my family has for quality health care, I want for everyone in Prince George's County. We're building a brand new regional medical center in Prince George's County to take the place of the old falling down Prince George's Hospital. It's about integrating healthcare throughout the county, which was the goal of our administration from the very beginning. We wanted our government to be effective and efficient, and to understand that our residents are our customers. Because if people don't believe the government's going to deliver for them, they don't turn to it. And I wanted people to believe that if they call 311 or if they access county stat, that we'd actually deliver those effective services for them. When people are most in need, whether it's from natural disasters, whether it's our social services or our family services, our health department, really delivering those services when they most are in need. And so I'm glad that we've been able to do that. Prince George's County is a leader and recognized by the Obama administration as being one of the top areas in the country when it comes to the environment. We lead the state in recycling. We lead the state in waste diversion. We have the largest composting facility on the East Coast, and we've created sustainable jobs out of the green economy.
I knew two things. I knew you, and I knew me. And I knew that if we worked together, wishes, dreams, hopes turn into reality. Today in this great county, it is a wish, it is a dream, and it was a hope that made us #1 in job creation. It was a wish, it was a dream, it was a hope that made $8 billion worth of development happening at once. It was a wish, and it was a dream, and it was a hope.
I want to thank the residents of Prince George's County for giving me an opportunity to live out my dream. Since I was 17 years old, I wanted to be in a position where I thought I could improve the quality of life for others. These last 8 years as county executive, the residents of this county have given me an opportunity I never thought I'd get. And there are times when I didn't think I deserved it. But I'm so appreciative of your belief in me. And I hope at the end of the day, you feel like I've done just a little good.